Hi, my name is Wayne Salzmann. I'm here today to talk to you about some concepts for developing melodic jazz language on the drum set. Now, first of all, the very first thing you should be doing if you want to be a jazz drummer is be listening to jazz. Listen to the style and the feel and the sounds of all the great masters. I mean, everybody from Baby Dodds up through Kenny Clark and Max and Gene and Buddy and Roy Haynes, Elvin Jones, Philly Joe Jones, Art Blakey, Jack DeJohnette, Tony, and up into modern drummers. So the very first thing is you need to be listening to the music. You need to get it in your ears. And by listening to those guys, you can start to kind of pick up some of their language, some of the things that they tended to do or tend to do still in terms of stickings and licks and rudimental types of things, maybe, or phrasing concepts or whatever it happens to be. So that's definitely one way to get some jazz vocabulary happening. But another way that I've found that has been working great for my students and for myself is to use melodies, so the melodies to jazz standards. By learning to sing these melodies and learning to play them, and using some concepts for developing improvisation around those melodies, you can really start to build some vocabulary that's inside the stylistic language of jazz. Okay, so there's a prerequisite to this. I've sort of set up these 5 steps on how to do this, and the first step is to be able to sing the melody. But the prerequisite to being able to sing the melody is to find, and what I say for my students is 5 versions of this tune recorded by known masters, established jazz artists. And I say that because you type in Billy's Bounce on YouTube and you'll find a bunch of middle school jazz bands playing it. And also the reason why I require multiple recordings is because certain people don't really play the melody the same, and so you need to get a scope of what it's like. I mean, there are versions of tunes, many versions of many standards where great artists like Miles Davis don't even really play the melody. So if that's the version that you're listening to try and learn the tune, you're not really going to learn the tune. So, try and find some singers, piano players, guitar players, saxophone players, trumpet players, a wide variety of musicians to learn from. You'll also then learn, the melody and the form of the tune, and you might find specific arrangement things, like a lot of tunes use the same intro or outro or a bunch of little details to sort of get inside of the music. Okay, so that's the prerequisite. Now the first step, as I said, is to sing. The example I'm going to give you is a 12-bar blues, a jazz blues. It's a tune by Sonny Rollins. It's called Tenor Madness. Okay, so here's how it goes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Beep bo bo do, beep bo bo do, beep bo bo do ba do do ba do do, beep bo bo do, beep bo bo do, beep bo bo do ba do do ba do do, beep bo be de bo do de do do, beep bo bo do ba do do ba do do. Okay, that's the tune. So step 1, be able to sing it. Step number 2 is to play the melody exactly on the snare drum. Play the rhythm and the melody exactly as it is, but only on the snare drum. I like to keep time on the hi-hats when I do this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So once you can do that, and specific tunes are more difficult to do that step with than others. Bebop tunes are very specific rhythmically, whereas songbook standards, Tin Pan Alley tunes are not as difficult rhythmically necessarily, but knowing the melodies and the structures sometimes can be a little more difficult. Anyway, Step number 3 is what I call ornamentation. So what that means for us as drummers is flams, drags, rolls, stuff like that. And the purpose of this step is to get inside of the phrases a little bit more. Try to be on top of the articulation and the accent structure, the note length if there are longer notes, things like that. So here's an example of step 3, ornamentation. 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay? Again, certain tunes, you know, a tune like Autumn Leaves or All the Things You Are, tunes that have a lot of long notes, those are much more specific when it comes to that step. Bebop tunes, maybe not quite so much, but each step sort of brings out different challenges with different standards, which is why it's important to learn a whole bunch of different types of standards. Okay? So step number 4 now is what I call orchestration, which means just moving the melody around the kit in a way trying to match the contour of that melody. All right, so of course it is possible, you know, going way back to Papa Joe and up through a bunch of great drummers, Jeff Hamilton, Ari Honig now has taken this to an extreme level. It is possible to play the exact melody on the drums, play the exact pitches. Right? But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about getting the gesture of the melody, getting the general shape of the phrases. Okay? If you want to explore that other stuff, check out Ari Honig. He takes it as far as it's gone so far. But just in terms of getting some language on the drums, using the phrases, this next step will definitely get you there. So the first phrase is just using open tones on the drums, more like, okay? Not quite the exact pitches, but pretty close. All right, so let me play step 4 for you. 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay. So mostly I kept my left hand up on the tom for that. I didn't play any cymbals, but there are a lot of ways you can do it because this is sort of getting at improvisation, right? Now, step 5 in this process is improvisation, where you take the melody and you start to break it apart and improvise based off of that melody a little bit. So let me give you an example. I'm going to play 3 choruses of improvisation based off of this melody. Which again is Tenor Madness by Sonny Rollins. Now, 3 choruses, by the way, a chorus in jazz terms is 1 time through the form. So 3 choruses, since this form is 12 bars, 3 choruses is 36 bars, okay? So I'm going to play real closely on the melody at first and kind of get away from it, and then I'll discuss some of the concepts that I used to build the improvisation, okay? Ready? 1, 2. breaking down some of the improvisation concepts, now, of course, one of the first things we have is rhythm. And so we can do a bunch of different things to the rhythm. We can change the subdivision. We can displace the rhythm. We can stretch it longer. We can compact it. So again, let's take just that first phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can play 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're stretching it a little longer using the same notes. Stretch it even longer, or make it shorter. You can change the subdivision. So I'm playing primarily eighth notes. I could play triplets. Right? I can also vary the dynamics. A couple of other things that I used in both of those improvisations are some sort of pre-existing stylistic language. So for us, rudiments are a big part of that, and a lot of the great drummers have used rudiments in very cool, creative ways. So, you know, of ways kind of some of the bebop guys established this language of using diddles and stuff, and then, you know, it even goes further into like Tony Williams' use of some of that stuff. Right? So anyway, you can investigate all that stuff for yourself. But so we have, you know, we can change the melody. We can take the theme and just do variations off of the theme. So the theme in this melody, we could just take the very first thing. Do a call and response. Okay, so that's one example. You could take that theme and just mess around with it in a bunch of different ways. So there are endless possibilities with this, but again, to recap the steps, you've got sing the melody, play it on the snare drum, ornamentation, flams, drags, rolls, orchestration, moving the phrases around the kit, and then improvisation, using a multitude of concepts and techniques. Okay, so take this and run with it. Have fun. Thanks.